what it's like to join a chaos cult in Warhammer 40K, and why you'd never escape alive. You wake up on a cold stone floor. Your head is pounding. The air smells like incense and dried blood. When you open your eyes, you see them. 12 robed figures standing in a circle around you, their faces hidden in shadow. Candles flicker. Strange symbols cover the walls. 8 pointed stars, twisting runes that hurt to look at. One of them steps forward. A woman's voice, calm and warm. "Welcome, Seeker. You've been asleep for 3 days, but now you're awake. Now you're one of us." You try to remember how you got here. You remember being hungry. You remember a promise. You remember a door opening in a place that shouldn't have a door. And you remember making a choice, the wrong choice. This is the story of how an ordinary citizen in the Imperium of man becomes a servant of chaos, and why there's no way back. Chapter 1, The First Whisper, the Bait. 6 weeks before you wake up on that stone floor, you're just another invisible face in Hive Tertius, one of 18 billion souls crushed into a city that rises 30 kilometers into the sky and burrows just as deep into the planet's crust. You work 14-hour shifts in a textile mill on level -7. You sleep in a hab cell the size of a coffin. You eat nutrient paste that tastes like rust and pray to the God Emperor that tomorrow won't be worse than today. But tomorrow is always worse. Your ration card gets declined. The administratum claims you missed a tithe payment 8 months ago for a tax you've never heard of. The fine is 600 thrones. You make 47 thrones a week. The overseer tells you to work it off. Double shifts, no pay. 6 months minimum. You try to appeal. The administratum clerk looks at you like you're an insect. The emperor's tithe is sacred. You dare question it? You don't dare. No one dares. So you go back to the underhive. Back to the smell of recycled air and chemical fires. Back to the 14-hour shifts that become 18, then 20. Your hands bleed from the looms. Your back screams. At night, you're too tired to dream. And then you meet Veyara. She's sitting in the communal meal hall when you collapse onto the bench across from her. You don't notice her at first. You're too focused on choking down your paste ration. But she's watching you. When you finally look up, she smiles. "Hard day?" she asks. You grunt. Everyone has hard days. "I used to work the mills too," she says. 83 hours a week. My hands look like yours." She shows you her palms, scarred, but healed, clean. "But I found a way out. You should walk away. Nothing in the underhive is free, but you're so tired, so hungry, so desperate." "What kind of way out?" you hear yourself ask. Her smile widens. "A community. People who help each other. People who see you, really see you. Not as a worker, not as a number, as a human being." It sounds too good to be true, you tell her that. "I thought so too," she admits. "But I was desperate, so I went to one meeting, just one, and it changed everything." She slides a scrap of parchment across the table, an address, a time. "Come if you want, no pressure, no obligation, just people who care." She leaves before you can answer. You stare at the parchment for 3 days. You tell yourself it's a scam, a trap. Maybe she's a gang of recruiting bodies. Maybe it's an organ harvesting ring. But on the 4th day, your shift overseer beats a worker to death for slowing down the line. The Arbites are called. They take statements. They file a report. And then they leave the body in the corridor for the servitors to collect. No one is coming to save you. So that night, you go to the address. The meeting. The location is in Sector Gamma 7, 3 levels below your hab. The deeper you go, the worse it gets. The lights flicker. The walls weep condensation. You pass drug dens and fighting pits and piles of refuse that might contain bodies. You almost turn back. But then you see the door. It's unmarked, hidden in an alcove behind a collapsed stairwell. You knock 3 times like the parchment said. The door opens. A man in grey robes looks you over. "Veyara sent you." You nod. He steps aside. "Then you're welcome." Inside, the room is not what you expected. It's clean. warm. There are maybe 20 people sitting in a circle on cushions and benches. They're dressed like you, workers, laborers, the forgotten underclass. But they're smiling, talking, sharing food, real food, bread, dried fruit, recaf that actually smells like recaf. Veyara sees you and waves you over. You came, I'm so glad. She introduces you to the others. Jorn, a factory worker. Mela, a former scribe. Torvus, who used to haul cargo for the trade guilds. All of them have the same story. The Imperium broke them, and this group put them back together. An older man stands. His name is Malachus, and he's clearly the leader. His voice is deep and calm, the kind of voice that makes you want to trust him. Welcome, friend, he says. We're glad you're here. You've been through so much, suffered so much. The Imperium takes and gives nothing back. But here, we give to each other. Here, we see each other. Here, you matter. He talks for 20 minutes. About community, about strength in unity, about how the God Emperor loves all his children, but the corrupt ecclesiarchy has forgotten the ones at the bottom. He talks about liberation, about hope, about a better world. And you believe him, because you need to believe him. At the end of the meeting, they share a prayer. It sounds imperial, lots of God Emperor and Holy Terror, but there's something else underneath, phrases you don't recognize, a rhythm that feels off. But by then, you're too grateful to care. Veyara walks you back to your hab. What did you think? It was good, you admit. Really good. Come back next week, she says. And if you know anyone who needs help, anyone who's struggling, bring them. We take care of our own. You go back the next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. Each time, the group feels more like home. They help you with your ration fines. Malachus pulls some strings, gets the debt reduced. They give you food when you're hungry, medicine when you're sick, friendship when you're alone, and slowly, carefully, they start to change the prayers. The references to the God Emperor get quieter. The new phrases get louder. They talk about the Liberator, the one who will free humanity from the chains of the corrupt Imperium. They talk about strength and power and destiny, and you don't question it, because for the first time in your life, you're not invisible. You matter. The invitation. 2 months in, Veyara pulls you aside after a meeting. Malachus wants to talk to you. Your stomach tightens. About what? He thinks you're ready. Ready for what? She smiles. To truly join us. Malachus meets you in a side room. It's smaller, lit by a single candle. On the wall is that symbol again, the 8-pointed star. You've seen it more and more lately, carved into the furniture, stitched into the robes. You've been with us for 2 months, Malachus says. You've proven yourself. You're loyal, faithful, hungry for more than the Imperium's scraps. You nod. But there's a difference, he continues, between attending our gatherings and being one of us. To truly join, you must take an oath. You must commit. You must be willing to do whatever it takes to build the world we're fighting for. I will, you say. And you mean it. Malachus studies you for a long moment. Then tomorrow night, come to the shrine. We'll perform the initiation. After that, you'll be family. Forever. He doesn't tell you where the shrine is. He doesn't need to. Veyara will take you. That night you can barely sleep. You're excited, nervous. You tell yourself this is the beginning of something great. You have no idea how right you are, or how wrong. Chapter 2. The Initiation. The descent. Veyara comes for you at the 19th hour. The hive's dim cycle has begun. Lights dimmed to simulate night, though the city never truly sleeps. She's wearing a dark robe, simpler than the ones Malachus and the others wear, but still marked with that 8-pointed star embroidered in red thread along the hem. Ready? She asks. You nod, though your hands are shaking. You don't know why you're nervous. This is what you want. This is belonging, purpose, family, She leads you deeper into the underhive than you've ever gone, past the inhabited levels, past the abandoned factories and collapsed transit tunnels. Down, down, down into the spaces the administratum forgot centuries ago. The air grows thick and hot. Water drips from corroded pipes. In the distance, you hear the rumble of the hive's geothermal core. After 40 minutes of walking through passages barely wide enough for one person, you reach a door. Heavy, reinforced, covered in symbols that make your eyes water when you look at them directly. Veyara knocks in a pattern. 3 slow, 2 fast, 1 slow. The door opens. The shrine. The chamber beyond is vast, at least 50 meters across, carved out of the hive's foundation rock. The ceiling is lost in shadow. Dozens of candles burn in alcoves along the walls, their light reflecting off strange murals painted in red and black. You see scenes of liberation, chains breaking, tyrants falling, people rising up in glory. But there's something wrong about the proportions, the faces, the way the figures seem to move when you're not looking directly at them. At the center of the room is an altar. Stone, ancient, stained dark with something you tell yourself is just rust. 43 people are gathered in a circle around the altar, all wearing robes, all watching you. Malachus steps forward. In the candlelight, he looks different, taller. His eyes catch the light strangely, reflecting gold. "Welcome, Seeker," he says, his voice echoing. "You've come to the threshold. To cross it, you must shed your old self. The Imperium made you a slave. Tonight, you become free." He gestures to the center of the circle. "Step forward." You do. Your heart is hammering. Every instinct screams at you to run. But you don't. Because everyone is watching. Because Veyara is smiling at you with such pride. Because you've come this far. Malachus raises his hands. "Brothers and sisters, we welcome a new soul into our fold. One who has suffered under the corpse emperor's lies. One who seeks the truth." The crowd responds in unison. "We welcome the seeker." "Kneel," Malachus commands. You kneel. He produces a small blade. Not threatening, just ceremonial. He pricks his own thumb, then yours. Blood wells up, dark and shining. "Blood calls to blood," he says. "Life calls to life, and the liberator calls to those brave enough to answer." He presses his thumb to yours, mixing the blood. The moment your blood touches his, you feel it. A pulse, like electricity, but deeper. It races up your arm, into your chest, into your skull. For a fraction of a second, you hear something. A voice. Distant, vast, hungry. Then it's gone. Malachus smiles. "The liberator has accepted you. Now, speak the oath." One of the robed figures hands you a parchment. The words are written in low Gothic, but the syntax is strange, formal, old. You read aloud. "I renounce the chains of the false Imperium. I renounce the lies of the corpse emperor. I pledge myself to the liberator, the true power, the one who sees me. I offer my strength, my will, my soul, in service of the great work. From this day until my last, I am bound." The words feel heavy leaving your mouth. The air in the chamber seems to thicken. The candles flare brighter. "You are bound," Malachus repeats. "Rise, sibling. You are one of us now." The crowd erupts in cheers. People embrace you. Veyara is crying with joy. Someone hands you a cup of wine. Real wine, not the synthetic swill you're used to. It's sweet and strong and burns all the way down. For the first time in your life, you feel seen. You feel chosen. The mark. Later, after the celebrating dies down, Malachus takes you aside. "There's one more thing." He leads you to a smaller chamber off the main shrine. Inside, a woman waits. She's older, her face lined with scars. In her hand is a branding iron, the tip glowing red hot. Your stomach drops. "What?" "Every member bears the mark," Malachus says gently. "It's proof of your oath. your bond, and your protection. Protection from what? From being lost, from being forgotten. The liberator marks his own. He rolls up his sleeve. On his forearm, burned into the flesh, is a symbol. Not the 8-pointed star. Something else. A rune that seems to shift when you look at it, never quite the same shape twice. It doesn't hurt for long, he says. And after, you'll feel his presence, always. You'll never be alone again. You want to refuse, but everyone is watching. And if you refuse now, after the oath, after the blood, what happens then? So you hold out your arm. The woman grips your wrist. The brand comes down. The pain is blinding, white hot. You scream, and no one stops you. The smell of burning flesh fills the chamber. Your vision goes black at the edges. And then, through the pain, you feel it again. That presence, that voice, whispering in a language you don't understand but somehow know. You are mine now. The brand lifts. You're shaking, sobbing. Veyara is there, wrapping your arm in clean cloth, murmuring reassurances. It's done, she says. You're family now, forever. You look down at the bandage. Already blood is seeping through, but underneath you can feel it. The mark, burning, pulsing, alive. The first truth. They let you rest in a side chamber, bring you water and bread. The pain in your arm fades to a dull throb. You're exhausted, but you can't sleep. Every time you close your eyes, you see that symbol. Hear that voice. Veyara sits with you. I know it's overwhelming, she says, but you'll get used to it. We all did. What was that, you ask? That voice. She hesitates. The liberator. He speaks to those who are marked. It's a gift. It didn't feel like a gift. It will, she promises. In time, you'll understand. He's not like the Emperor, distant, silent, uncaring. The liberator is real. He's present. He sees you, and he'll give you power beyond anything the Imperium ever could. You want to ask more, but Malachus enters. Enough rest, he says, not unkindly. There's work to do. You're one of us now, which means you have responsibilities. He hands you a bundle of cloth. Inside is a robe, grey like the others wear, and a small token, a pendant on a chain, carved with the 8-pointed star. Wear these when you come to the shrine, he says. Outside you're still a worker, still invisible. But here, you're family, and family takes care of each other. He explains the structure. There are tiers within the cult. New initiates like you start at the bottom, performing simple tasks, cleaning the shrine, distributing food, carrying messages. As you prove yourself, you rise. More responsibility, more knowledge, more power. Everyone starts where you are, Malachus says. Even me. I was a dock worker once, broken, hopeless. But the liberator lifted me up, and now I lead this congregation. You can rise too if you're faithful. He places a hand on your shoulder. Rest tonight. Tomorrow, your new life begins. They let you sleep in the shrine that night. The floor is hard, but the room is warm. Around you, other initiates sleep. You hear their breathing, their murmurs. Some of them are dreaming, some of them are crying. You lie awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling the mark on your arm pulse in time with your heartbeat. You've crossed the threshold, and there's no going back. Chapter 3. The Hidden Network. The city above. 3 days after your initiation, Sister Veyara pulls you aside after morning prayers. The cult doesn't call them prayers anymore, at least not around you. They're meditations or devotions. The words are changing, slowly, carefully. You barely notice. I have an assignment for you, Veyara says. She hands you a data slate with an address. Report to this location at the 8th hour. Ask for Grevin. Tell him, the Liberator sees the chains. You blink. What is this? Work, she says simply. Real work. The cult takes care of its own, but we all contribute. You'll understand when you get there. The address is in the Commercia district, 11 levels above the underhive. You've never been that high. The lift ride alone takes 40 minutes, climbing through the hive's guts, past industrial sectors and residential blocks and transit hubs. The higher you go, the cleaner the air becomes. The lights grow brighter. The people look healthier. By the time you step onto Commercia level 7, you're in a different world. The streets here are wide and paved. There are actual shops with glass windows. Vendors sell fresh fruit. Real fruit, not reconstituted paste. Children play in courtyards, laughing. You see enforcers on patrol, but they're relaxed, bored. There's no violence here, no desperation. You feel like an intruder. Grevin's import house sits on a corner overlooking a transit hub. The sign is freshly painted. Through the windows, you see rows of merchandise, clothing, tools, packaged food, data slates. This is legitimate, legal, nothing like the shadowy underhive shrine. Inside, a thick-shouldered man in his 50s looks up from a ledger. His face is hard, weathered, the kind that's forgotten how to smile. "Help you," he grunts. You give the passphrase. The liberator sees the chains. His expression doesn't change. He just nods, closes the ledger, and gestures to a back room. Third shift, inventory and packaging. You do the work, you keep your mouth shut, you get paid in scrip and food vouchers. Understood? Understood. Good. He hands you a loader's apron. Because if you bring trouble here, I'll gut you myself before the Arbites even get a chance. The network for 6 hours, you haul boxes, you catalogue shipments, you wrap merchandise and load it onto cargo servitors. It's hard work, but it's honest, normal. You almost forget you're working for a chaos cult. Then you see it. One of the crates, marked industrial lubricant, has a cracked corner. Through the gap, you see small, carefully wrapped packages. Not lubricant, something else. Grevin is across the room in 4 strides. He seals the crate with a heat rivet gun, slaps a new label on it, and leans close. "You didn't see anything," he says quietly. "I didn't see anything," you repeat. He studies your face, then nods. "You'll do." Over the next 2 weeks, you learn the system. Grevin's import house is one of 17 cult-controlled businesses in this sector alone. You hear about the others in hushed conversations. A textile mill that makes robes for rituals and uses its trucks to move people without suspicion. A water reclamation plant that gives access to the hive's underlevel tunnels. A Medici clinic offering alternative treatments. A scribing service that forges documents. A funeral home that disposes of bodies. Each business serves 2 purposes. First, legitimacy. They pay taxes, employ locals, file reports with the administratum. They're clean. Second, infrastructure. The cult isn't just a gathering of believers in a basement. It's a network, a web, vast, interconnected, invisible to anyone not looking for it. One night, Veyara takes you to a meeting in a recaf shop's back room. 8 of you sit around a table that still smells like spilled drinks. The shop is closed, but outside, the city rumbles. Ground cars, vendors, the distant wail of a Medica siren. Veyara spreads a hand-drawn map across the table. It shows Hive Tertius from levels 1 to 30, annotated in a dozen different hands. Symbols mark locations, circles, triangles, crossed lines. "These," she says, tapping the circles, "are ours. Businesses, safe houses, weapons caches, ritual sites. 43 in this district alone. 43. You stare. You knew the cult was organized, but these, she taps the triangles, are targets. Administratum officials who can be bribed, arbits who look the other way, families with debts we can exploit. There are more triangles than circles. And these," she points to the crossed lines, "are threats. Preachers too loyal to the ministorum, enforcers who can't be bought, informants, people who've asked the wrong questions." She looks up. "Your job is to help turn the triangles into circles and neutralize the crosses." "Neutralize how?" someone asks. Veyara's smile doesn't reach her eyes. We start with persuasion, bribes, blackmail. If someone's drowning in debt, we pay it off. Then they owe us. If someone has a secret, we make sure they know we know. Most people don't want to be heroes. They want to survive. We offer them that chance. And if they refuse, the room goes quiet. Then we make them disappear, Veyara says simply. Or we ruin them, forge evidence of heresy, plant contraband, turn their families against them. There are 1,000 ways to destroy a person without touching them. She rolls up the map. The Imperium thinks it's eternal, but we're already inside. We're in the administratum, filing your reports. In the Arbeits precincts, wearing the uniform. In the worker guilds, the food networks. We're the people who keep this city running. Brother Malachus, seated at the far end, speaks. The Imperium is a corpse that doesn't know it's dead. We're the rot in its veins. And when he calls us to rise, this whole city will be ours in a single night. Everyone nods. You nod too, because it makes sense. The Imperium failed you, let you starve while the highborn lived in luxury, demanded obedience but gave nothing. Why shouldn't you be part of something that actually sees you? The assignments. Over the following weeks, the assignments come. You deliver packages to addresses you're told not to remember. You stand watch outside buildings while meetings happen inside. You learn to spot Arbeits patrols and how to avoid them. You learn which officials take bribes, which are too scared to refuse, and which are already true believers. You also learn how the cult funds itself. Some is simple profit from the businesses, but that's not enough. So there's theft, carefully planned raids on administratum supply convoys, never enough to trigger investigation, extortion, protection money from businesses that don't know who they're paying, smuggling, weapons, drugs, forbidden texts moving through the underbelly, even donations from wealthy patrons who've been brought into the fold, who want to be on the winning side when the old order falls. You don't handle money, but you see the results. Better food at gatherings, new robes, weapons, autoguns, even laser guns, hidden in a vault beneath the shrine. The cult is preparing for something. The disposal one evening, you're sent to the Medici clinic. The message is vague. Assistance required. Come alone. The clinic is mid-level, respectable, clean and well lit. Behind the desk sits a woman in a white coat, her augmetic eye clicking as it focuses on you. You're the one Veyara sent? You nod. We have a situation. She leads you past examination rooms, past surgery, down a staircase that shouldn't exist. The air grows cold. You're below street level now, in a space carved from the Hive's foundation. A man is strapped to a gurney, unconscious, face swollen, bruised, blood dried on his lips. Arbeits informant, the woman explains. Fed information to Precinct 12 for 2 months. We confirmed it yesterday. Your stomach tightens. Brother Kale extracted everything he knows, she continues, clinical. Names, locations, what he reported, who his handler is. Now we dispose of the evidence. She hands you a data slate. This is everything he told us. Deliver it to Malachus immediately. The Arbeits might already be moving. We need to warn our people. You take the slate. It's warm. On screen, names, addresses, cult operations. At the top, 4 names marked compromised in red. Go, she says. Don't let anyone see that. You leave through the back. Your heart hammers. You're certain everyone can see the slate under your coat, can somehow know, but no one stops you. You deliver it to Malachus. He reads in silence, jaw tight, then makes a coded vox call. By morning, all 4 compromised members have vanished. Homes empty, workstations abandoned, dead or hidden so deep even you don't know. The informant? 2 days later, a body is found in the water reclamation tanks, too decomposed to identify, written off as another underhive vagrant. You tell yourself it had to be done. He was a traitor, would have gotten people killed, innocent people. You almost laugh. Are any of you innocent? But you push it away. You're in too deep to doubt now. The cult is your family. The liberator has chosen you for something greater. And if you're honest, there's a part of you that likes this. Likes the power, the secrecy, the knowledge that you're part of something the Imperium can't control. You're not the starving underhive rat anymore. You're someone who matters, someone who makes things happen, even if those things are unforgivable. Chapter 4. The Machinery of Control. The Routine. By the 4th month, the cult has become your entire world. You wake at the 5th hour in your hab cell, but it's not the same cell you had before. The cult moved you 3 weeks ago to a cleaner block, closer to the shrine. The room is small, but it's yours. The door locks. The water dispenser works. There's even a thin mattress instead of bare plasteel. You dress in your workers' coveralls, the same grey uniform you've worn for years, but underneath, hidden against your skin, you wear the pendant, the 8-pointed star. You can feel it, always, a small weight over your heart. Your official job is still at the textile mill, but you only work there 3 days a week now. The rest of the time, you work for the cult, Grevin's import house, the recaf shop, the funeral home, sometimes just standing watch during meetings, or delivering messages, or moving crates you're not supposed to open. The cult pays better than the mill ever did. You eat real food now, protein, carbs that aren't nutrient paste. Your body is getting stronger. You're sleeping better. You're thriving. And that's the point. The love bombing. Every gathering, and there are 3 per week now, begins the same way. You arrive at the shrine. Someone greets you by name, with a smile, with genuine warmth. Brother, they say, or sister, depending on your rank. You're not just a face, you're family. Inside, the candles are lit. The air smells like incense, sweet, cloying with an undertone of something metallic. You take your place in the circle. Malachus leads the meditation. His voice is soothing, rhythmic. He speaks of liberation, of strength, of the courage it takes to reject the Imperium's lies. He praises those who've done well, completed assignments, recruited new members, shown devotion. When he praises you, the whole group applauds. You feel a warmth in your chest, a pride you've never known. After meditation, there's food, shared meals, everyone contributing. Bread, stew, fruit, sometimes even meat. You sit with Veyara, with Torvus, with the others. They ask about your week. They listen. They care. Or at least, it feels like they care. One night, you're struggling. The Arbite stopped you on the street during a delivery, asked for your ident papers. They let you go. Your documents are clean, but it shook you. You arrive at the shrine tense, rattled. Veyara sees it immediately. What's wrong? You tell her. She listens, nods, then pulls you aside. That sounds terrifying, but you handled it perfectly. The Liberator was watching over you. He protected you. She puts a hand on your shoulder. You're stronger than you think. We all see it. Malachus sees it. The Liberator sees it. By the end of the conversation, you feel better. Confident, grateful. You don't realize it's a technique, a calculated move to deepen your dependence, to make you associate the cult with safety, with validation, with love. You just feel seen. The hierarchy. The cult structure becomes clearer over time. At the bottom are the initiates, people like you, marked and sworn, but still learning. You perform basic tasks. You're not trusted with the deeper secrets yet. Above you are the brothers and sisters, fully integrated members who've proven themselves. They lead the smuggling operations, manage the front businesses, handle recruitment. Veyara is one of them. So is Torvus. Above them are the priests, Malachus and 4 others. They lead rituals, make strategic decisions, communicate with other cult cells across the Hive. They're the ones who've been doing this for years, sometimes decades. Their devotion is absolute, and their knowledge of the warp is deep. And above them, no one talks about it. But sometimes, during the deepest rituals, You see figures in the shadows, robed, hooded, their faces never visible. They don't speak, they just watch. You ask Veyara once, "Who are they?" She hesitates. "The chosen, those who've given everything to the Liberator. They're beyond us now. Don't worry about them." But you do worry, because their presence feels wrong, like they're not entirely human anymore. The chosen narrative. The most insidious part of the cult isn't the violence or the crime, it's the story they tell you. Every meditation, every conversation, every moment of praise reinforces the same message. You are special. You are chosen. The Imperium tried to crush you, but you survived. You saw through the lies. You had the courage to seek the truth. And now, the Liberator, the true God, the real power, has marked you. You're part of something greater, something destined to change the galaxy. Malachus says it during a gathering. The Imperium worships a corpse, a failed tyrant who couldn't even save himself. But the Liberator is alive. He is power incarnate, and he has chosen us, not the nobles, not the high lords, but us, the broken, the forgotten, because we're the ones strong enough to build the new world. The crowd erupts in cheers. You cheer too, because it feels true. For the first time in your life, you're not a victim. You're not invisible. You're part of a grand design, a prophecy, a revolution. It's intoxicating. The subtle shifts. But there are cracks if you look closely. The meditations have changed. They used to invoke the God Emperor, even if the wording was strange. Now, they barely mention him. Instead, Malachus speaks of the powers, the primordial truth, the fourfold path. You don't know what those mean. You don't ask. The symbols have multiplied. The 8-pointed star is everywhere now, carved into the shrine's pillars, stitched into robes, painted on the walls of safe houses. And there are new symbols, runes that twist your vision, sigils that make your head ache. One night, you see a brother carving something into his own arm with a knife. Not the brand, something else. A pattern of lines that seems to move. When you ask him why, he just smiles. The Liberator speaks to me now. He shows me truths. His eyes are bloodshot, his hands shake, but he looks happy. You start to notice that the oldest members, the ones who've been in the cult for 5, 10, 15 years, look wrong. Their skin is too pale or too flushed. Their eyes reflect light strangely. Some have scars in patterns that don't make sense. Some have extra fingers or joints that bend the wrong way. No one else seems to notice. Or maybe they do, and they just don't care. The fear. There's a moment, 3.5 months in, when you think about leaving. It happens during a meditation. Malachus is leading a chant, and the words are in a language you don't recognize. The rhythm is hypnotic, pulling you down into a trance. You feel the mark on your arm burning, pulsing, alive, and for just a second, you see it. The thing behind the veil. The entity they're calling to. It's vast, impossibly vast, made of hunger and rage and desire and despair all tangled together. It looks at you, not with eyes, but with an awareness that strips you bare, that sees every sin, every fear, every secret you've ever had. And it smiles. You snap back to yourself, gasping. The meditation is still going. No one noticed. That night, alone in your hab, you think, I have to get out. But then you think, where would I go? The Arbites would execute you if they found the brand. The Inquisition would burn you alive. Your old co-workers wouldn't take you back. You've been gone too long, and the mill has replaced you. And the cult knows where you live. They have your name, your ident code, your biometrics. If you run, they'll find you. Or worse, they'll make an example of you. You remember the informant in the Medici clinic, the body in the water tanks. You can't leave. You can only go deeper. The tasks escalate. The assignments get darker. You're sent to discourage a street preacher who's been speaking against heresy too loudly. You don't kill him. But you and 2 others corner him in an alley and beat him until his jaw breaks and his ribs crack. The Arbites investigate, but there are no witnesses. You help smuggle a shipment of autoguns into a workers' district, hidden in crates marked as grain. Enough firepower to arm 200 people. You don't know what they're for. You don't ask. You stand guard while Brother Kale interrogates a captured administratum clerk. You don't participate, but you hear the screams, and you do nothing to stop them. Each time it gets easier. Each time the voice that says this is wrong gets quieter. Each time you tell yourself it's necessary, that the Imperium is the real enemy, that the cult is building something better, and each time you lose a little more of who you used to be. The reward. After the preacher incident, Malachus pulls you aside. You did well. Thank you, brother, you say automatically. He studies you. You're ready for more responsibility. The Liberator sees your strength. He's pleased. He hands you a bundle. Inside, an auto pistol, old but well-maintained, and a box of ammunition. You've earned this, Malachus says. You're one of us now, truly. You take the weapon. It's cold and heavy. There will be harder tests, he continues, but I believe you'll pass them all. The Liberator has marked you. I can see his favor on you. That night, you sit in your hab with the auto pistol in your lap. You think about the preacher, the clerk, the informant. You think about the person you were 4 months ago, starving, invisible, powerless, and the person you are now, armed, marked, part of something vast. You should feel guilt, horror, but you don't. You feel chosen, and that terrifies you more than anything else. Chapter 5. The point of no return. The summons. There's a moment in every cult member's life when they cross a line they can't uncross. For you, it comes on a cold night in the 4th month. You're summoned to the shrine at the 19th hour, not the usual time. The message comes through a street urchin who presses a scrap of parchment into your hand and vanishes. The parchment smells like incense. The handwriting is Malachus's. The shrine is different. The torches are extinguished. In their place, candles. Hundreds of them arranged in patterns you recognize from your initiation. Symbols of the Liberator drawn in ash on the floor. 12 of you stand in a circle around the altar. No more, no less. Malachus stands at the center, robed in black instead of his usual grey. His face is half shadow, half candlelight. He looks older tonight, harder. Tonight, he says, voice echoing, you stop being initiates. Tonight, you become true servants of the Liberator. A murmur ripples through the group. You feel it too. A tightness in your chest, fear and excitement tangled together. Each of you has proven your loyalty. Malachus continues. You've obeyed, kept our secrets, served faithfully. But faith without sacrifice is hollow. Words without deeds are wind. He gestures. From the shadows, 3 figures are dragged forward. Bound, gagged, eyes wide with terror. Your blood goes cold. The guilty. You recognize one of them, Harren, the man from the underhive who used to sell you water rations. The one who always shortchanged you, who laughed when you complained, who kicked you when you couldn't pay. The other 2 are strangers. A woman, middle-aged, her face bruised. A young man, barely older than you, sobbing behind his gag. These 3 are guilty, Malachus says. This one, he points to Harren, is an extortionist who preys on the desperate, who hoards while others starve. This one, the woman, is an Arbite's informant who's been watching us. This one, the young man, stole from the cult's coffers and spent it on obscura and whores. He pauses. Justice is not the Imperium's alone to dispense. The Liberator teaches that the strong must judge the weak. Tonight, you will be his hands. Tonight, you will deliver justice. Your mouth goes dry. Malachus draws a knife. Simple, worn. He places it on the altar. One by one, you will step forward. Take the blade and spill the blood of the guilty in the Liberator's name. No one moves. Silence. You hear candles guttering. Your own heartbeat. Then Soren, an older man, foundry hardened, steps forward, takes the knife, walks to the woman. She thrashes, tries to scream through the gag. Soren grabs her hair, yanks her head back, and cuts her throat. It's not quick. Blood sprays hot and dark across the floor. She makes a wet, choking sound, convulsing. Soren holds her until she stops, then lets her drop. He returns, places the knife on the altar, hands shaking, face blank. "Blood for the Liberator," Malachus intones. "Blood for the Liberator," the group echoes, including you. The line. One by one, they step forward. Veyara, a woman you shared meals with, takes the knife. She walks to the young man, the thief. He's sobbing, pissing himself. She hesitates. Malachus says quietly, "He stole from you. From all of you. He spat on your faith." Veyara's face hardens. She drives the knife into his chest, once, twice, 3 times. He dies choking on blood. "Blood for the Liberator. Blood for the Liberator." The others follow. Some quick, clinical. Others hesitant, needing encouragement. But all of them do it. And then it's your turn. Only Harren is left. The man who made your life hell, who stole from you, who laughed at your suffering. You step forward. The knife is slick with blood, heavier than you expected. Harren sees you. Recognition flares. He tries to speak through the gag, shaking his head frantically. You think about every time he shortchanged you, every kick, every laugh. You raise the knife. He deserves this. Malachus whispers behind you. He's guilty. The Liberator sees his crimes. You are the instrument of justice. Justice. The word feels right. Harren isn't innocent. He's a parasite. He hurt people, hurt you. And besides, if you don't do this, what happens? Will the cult turn on you? Will you be next on the floor, bound and gagged? You meet Harren's eyes one last time. Then you cut his throat. The act. The blade parts flesh easier than you expected. Blood surges over your hands, warm and slick. Harren gurgles, jerking. You hold him, like Soren did, until the light leaves his eyes. When you let go, he crumples. You're shaking, hands red, clothes soaked. But you feel something. Not guilt. Not yet. Power. "Blood for the Liberator," Malachus says, approval in his voice. "Blood for the Liberator," you whisper, and you mean it. The aftermath. The ritual ends an hour later. The bodies are taken away. You don't ask where. The shrine is cleaned. Candles extinguished. You're given new robes and told to burn the old ones. By the time you step into the streets, the sky is lightening. Night shift ending. Workers trudging to factories. Vendors setting up. Life goes on, oblivious. You walk home in a daze. Your hands are clean now, scrubbed raw, but you can still feel the blood, still see Harren's eyes. You tell yourself it was justice. He deserved it, and maybe he did. But that's not the point. The point is, you did it. You killed a man, not in self-defense, not in passion. You killed him because you were told to, because it proved your loyalty, because refusing wasn't an option. You crossed the line, and there's no going back. The reward. The next day, Veyara pulls you aside after a gathering. "Malachus told me you did well," she says, pride in her voice. "I knew you had it in you." Had what? Strength. The weak hesitate. The weak cling to the Imperium's lies about mercy. But you see clearly. You understand the old world has to burn before the new one can rise. She hands you a package. Inside, an auto pistol. Old, but maintained. And a box of ammunition. "You've earned this," she says. "You're one of us now. Truly." You take the weapon. Cold. Heavy. "There will be more tests," Veyara continues. "Harder ones. But I believe you'll pass them all. The Liberator has chosen you. I can see his mark on you." You nod. What else can you do? The doubt. That night, alone in your hab, You sit with the auto pistol in your lap. You think about Harren, the woman, the young man. You think about the person you were 4 months ago, starving, desperate, invisible, and the person you are now, armed, blooded, part of something vast and powerful. You should feel guilty, horror, but instead, you feel chosen. Over the following weeks, the assignments get darker. You discourage a preacher, beat him so badly he stops speaking out. The Arbites investigate. No witnesses, no evidence. You smuggle weapons, crates marked as food, enough to arm 200. You don't know what for. Don't ask. You stand guard during interrogations. Hear the screams. Do nothing. Each time it gets easier. Each time, the voice that says this is wrong gets quieter. Each time, you tell yourself it's necessary, that the Imperium is the enemy, that the cult is building something better, and each time, you lose a little more of yourself. The acceptance. One night, you're summoned to a warehouse. At least 50 cult members present, more than you've ever seen. Malachus stands on a platform, flanked by 2 robed figures. Their proportions are off, movements too smooth. "Brothers and sisters," Malachus begins, voice carrying. "For months we've prepared, grown in strength and number, infiltrated the city's institutions, gathered weapons, proven our faith through sacrifice." Agreement ripples through the crowd. "But now," he says, "the time approaches. The Liberator calls us to action. Soon, very soon, the old order will fall, and we will bring it down." Someone shouts, "When?" Malachus smiles. "Soon. Weeks, not months. The signs are clear. The warp grows restless. Our allies are positioned. When the signal comes, we rise as one. We take the administratum centers, the Arbites precincts, the power stations. Within a single night, this hive will be ours." The crowd erupts. You cheer too, because everyone else is, because it's expected. But inside, a small voice whispers, "What have you become?" You ignore it, because you made your choice. The moment you put that knife to Harren's throat, you made your choice. And there's no going back. Chapter 6. The point of no return. There's a specific moment when you stop being someone who joined a cult and become someone who can never leave. For some, it happens slowly. 1,000 small compromises, each one easier than the last, until they wake up one day and don't recognize the person in the mirror. For you, it happens on a cold night in your 4th month. The message comes through a street urchin, a girl no older than 10, her face covered in soot. She presses a folded piece of parchment into your palm and vanishes into the crowd before you can say a word. The parchment smells like incense and something else, something metallic. The handwriting is Brother Malachus's, and it says only 3 words. "Come, tonight, 19th hour." You arrive at the shrine as the city transitions from day shift to night shift. The streets are packed with workers trudging home, their faces blank with exhaustion. You move against the current, descending into the underhive, following the hidden routes you've memorized over months of attendance. The shrine is different tonight. The usual torches have been extinguished. In their place, hundreds of candles. You count at least 200, arranged in patterns that make your eyes hurt if you look at them too long. The 8-pointed star drawn in ash on the floor, symbols you've seen in the forbidden texts, scratched into the stone walls. There are 12 of you, no more, no less, all standing in a circle around the central altar. Brother Malachus stands at the center, wearing black robes instead of his usual grey. The candlelight carves deep shadows into his face, making him look older, harder, like something carved from stone rather than born from flesh. "Tonight," he begins, his voice echoing in the vaulted chamber, "you stop being initiates. Tonight, you become true servants of the Liberator." The air feels thick, charged, like the moment before a lightning strike. "Each of you has proven your loyalty," Malachus continues, pacing the circle. "You've attended our gatherings. You've kept our secrets. You've performed the tasks we've given you. You've spoken the prayers and learned the signs. But faith without sacrifice is hollow. Words without deeds are nothing but wind. He gestures toward the shadows at the edge of the chamber. 3 figures are brought forward. They're bound with industrial wire, the kind used in the manufactorums, gagged with cloth. Their eyes are wide, not with anger, but with pure animal terror. Your stomach tightens. You recognize one of them. His name is Harren. He used to sell water rations in the underhive, 3 levels down from where you lived. You'd see him every day, sitting behind his little stall with his crooked teeth and greedy eyes. He'd shortchange you regularly, charge you for a full liter and hand you 3/4, knowing you were too desperate to complain. Once, when you couldn't pay, he kicked you hard enough to crack a rib. The other 2 are strangers. A woman, perhaps 40 years old, with bruises on her face and a cut above her eye that's still bleeding. A young man, barely older than you, sobbing behind his gag. These 3, Malachus says, his voice carrying to every corner of the chamber, are guilty. This one, he points to Harren, is a parasite, an extortionist who preys on the desperate, who hoards while others starve, who grows fat on the suffering of his fellow citizens. Harren tries to speak through the gag, shaking his head violently. This one, Malachus points to the woman, is an informant. She's been watching our activities, taking notes, preparing to report to the Arbeits. She would see us all burn for the crime of seeking truth. The woman's eyes plead silently. You can see her trying to shake her head, but the cult members holding her keep her still. And this one, the young man, is a thief. He joined our community in false faith. He stole from our coffers, money given freely by believers, meant to feed the hungry and shelter the lost. He took what was offered in good faith and spent it on obscurer and cheaper pleasures. The young man has stopped struggling. He's just staring at the floor, tears running down his face. Malachus walks to the altar and picks up a knife. It's not ceremonial, not ornate, just a simple blade with a worn wooden handle, the kind you'd use to gut fish or cut rope, the kind of tool that speaks of utility, not ritual. He places it carefully on the altar's edge, where the candlelight makes it gleam. Justice, Malachus says softly, is not the Imperium's alone to dispense. The God Emperor sits on his golden throne and judges from afar, but he does nothing. He changes nothing. The arbitrators enforce laws written by the wealthy to protect the wealthy. The Ministorum preaches patience and suffering, while the corrupt grow fat. He looks around the circle, meeting each person's eyes in turn. But the Liberator teaches us differently. He teaches that the strong must judge the weak, that those who see clearly must punish those who live in blindness and greed, that true believers must be willing to get their hands dirty in pursuit of a better world. The silence in the chamber is absolute. You can hear your own heartbeat. You can hear the candles guttering. Tonight, Malachus says, you will be his hands. You will deliver justice. You will prove your faith not with words, but with action. He picks up the knife and holds it out. One by one, you will step forward. You will take this blade, and you will spill the blood of the guilty in the Liberator's name. And when you have done this, when you have proven your willingness to do what must be done, you will be transformed. You will be reborn as true servants, as warriors in the coming war against the corrupt Imperium. No one moves. The weight of what he's asking settles over the group like a shroud. You look around the circle. Some faces are pale with shock, others flushed with what might be excitement or fear. A woman to your left is shaking. A man across from you has his jaw clenched so tight you can see the muscles jumping. Then one of the others steps forward. His name is Soren. You don't know much about him. He's older, maybe 40, with the thick shoulders and scarred hands of someone who's spent decades in the foundries. His face is weathered and hard, and when he takes the knife from Malachus, his hand doesn't shake. He walks to the woman, the supposed informant. She sees him coming and tries to scream through the gag, tries to thrash against her bonds. The cultists holding her tighten their grip. forcing her to her knees. Soren grabs a fistful of her hair and yanks her head back, exposing her throat. You want to look away, but you can't. Everyone is watching. If you close your eyes, if you show weakness, they'll remember. The knife moves fast, one swift motion across her throat. Blood sprays, hot, dark, arterial. It hits the floor in a spreading pool. The woman makes a wet, choking sound, her body convulsing. Soren holds her upright for what feels like an eternity, but is probably only seconds, until the convulsions slow and stop. Then he lets her drop. The body hits the stone floor with a sound that makes your stomach turn. Blood continues to spread, seeping into the cracks between the stones. Soren walks back to the altar. His hands are shaking now. You can see them trembling as he sets the knife down. But his face is blank, empty. "Blood for the liberator," Malachus intones. "Blood for the liberator," the group echoes. The words come from your mouth automatically, without thought. The next person steps forward. Her name is Veyara. You've worked with her on several assignments. She's quiet, diligent, always willing to help. She picks up the knife like it's a venomous serpent. She approaches the young man, the thief. He's sobbing uncontrollably now, shaking his head, making muffled pleading sounds behind the gag. He can't be more than 20 years old, just a kid who made a stupid mistake. Veyara hesitates, the knife raised but motionless. "He stole from you," Malachus says quietly. "From all of you. He took what you gave freely, what you earned through hard work and sacrifice, and he spat on it. He mocked your faith. He used you." Veyara's face hardens. Something changes in her expression, grief or anger, or maybe just acceptance. She drives the knife into the young man's chest. Once, twice, 3 times. Fast, desperate strikes, like she's trying to get it over with before she can change her mind. The young man makes a horrible gurgling sound, blood bubbling from his lips. His eyes go wide, then glassy, then empty. Veyara steps back, the knife falling from her hand. She's breathing hard, staring at what she's done. Someone picks up the knife and brings it back to the altar. "Blood for the liberator! Blood for the liberator!" One by one, the others step forward. Some are quick and clinical, like they're performing an unpleasant but necessary task. Others hesitate, needing encouragement, needing Malachus to remind them why this is necessary, why these people deserve death. But all of them do it. All of them except you. And then there's only one prisoner left. Harren, the water merchant, the man who made your life miserable for years. Everyone is looking at you now, waiting. You step forward. Your legs feel disconnected from your body, moving on their own. The knife is slick with blood when you pick it up, still warm from the last person's grip. It's heavier than you expected. Harren sees you. Recognition flares in his eyes. He's trying to speak through the gag, making desperate muffled sounds, shaking his head violently. You think about all the times he shortchanged you, all the times he laughed when you complained, all the times he treated you like vermin, like you were worth less than nothing. The time he kicked you and walked away whistling. The knife feels right in your hand. "He deserves this," Malachus whispers from somewhere behind you. You know he does. Think of all the people he's hurt, all the people he's stolen from. He's a cancer on this community. You'd be doing everyone a favor. Justice. That's what this is. Justice for all the people Harren exploited, for all the children he let go thirsty so he could pocket an extra throne or two. The Imperium would never punish him. The Arbites don't care about small-time merchants cheating the poor. The Administratum doesn't even acknowledge that people like you exist. But you can do something. You can make sure he never hurts anyone again. You meet Harren's eyes one last time. There's terror there, and something else. Maybe regret. Maybe just fear of death. It doesn't matter. You raise the knife. Harren's muffled screaming gets louder. You bring the knife down fast, slashing across his throat before you can think about it, before you can hesitate. Blood erupts from the wound, hot, copper-smelling, spraying across your hands and chest. Harren's eyes go wide. His body jerks against the bonds, heels drumming against the stone floor. You hold him. Someone told you to hold them, to make sure it's done properly. And watch the light fade from his eyes. It takes longer than you expected. Maybe 30 seconds. Maybe a year. Time feels broken. When his body finally goes limp, you let go. He crumples like a puppet with cut strings. You're shaking, your hands are red, your clothes are soaked. But you also feel something else. Something sharp and clear and powerful. You feel seen, you feel real, you feel like you matter. Blood for the liberator, Malachus says, and there's approval in his voice now. Pride even. Blood for the liberator, you whisper, and you mean it. The ritual continues for another hour. The bodies are taken away. You don't ask where. The blood is cleaned from the floor with practiced efficiency. The candles are extinguished. You're given clean robes and told to burn the old ones in a specific furnace that runs hot enough to leave no trace. By the time you emerge back into the city, the night shift is in full swing. The streets are crowded with workers, vendors, citizens going about their lives. The sky, what little you can see of it through the hive's layers, is the same polluted orange it always is. Nothing has changed. Everything has changed. You walk home in a daze. Your hands are clean now. You scrub them in the shrine's washroom for 15 minutes until the skin was raw, but you can still feel the blood, still feel the knife cutting through flesh, still see Harren's eyes. You tell yourself it was justice. You tell yourself he deserved it. You tell yourself the Imperium would have done nothing, that you were serving a higher cause, and maybe that's true. But it's also true that you just murdered a man. Not in self-defense, not in a moment of passion. You killed him because you were told to, because refusing wasn't an option, because proving your loyalty mattered more than his life. You crossed a line tonight, a line that can never be uncrossed. The next morning, Sister Veyara finds you after a gathering. Malachus told me about last night, she says. There's something like pride in her voice. He said you did well, better than some of the others. It was necessary, you hear yourself say. Yes, it was. She hands you a small package wrapped in cloth. You've earned this. You unwrap it. Inside is an auto pistol, old but well maintained, the kind that can't be traced, and a box of 36 rounds. You're one of us now, Veyara says. Truly, not an initiate, not a probationary member, a full brother of the faith. The weight of the gun in your hand feels final, permanent. There will be more tests, she continues, harder ones, but I believe you'll pass them. The Liberator has chosen you. I can see his mark on you now. You nod, because what else can you do? That night, alone in your hab cell, you sit with the auto pistol in your lap. You think about Harren, about the woman and the young man, about the ease with which Soren and Ilara and the others became killers, about the ease with which you became one too. You should feel guilty. You should feel horror. You should feel something other than this hollow emptiness. But instead, you feel chosen. You feel powerful. You feel like you finally matter in a galaxy that spent your entire life telling you you were worthless. And that's when you realize the truth. You can't go back. Even if you wanted to leave the cult now, even if you tried to run, you've already damned yourself. The Arbites would execute you for murder if they knew. The Imperium would burn you as a heretic. Your only path forward is with the cult. You've become exactly what they needed you to become. A killer, a true believer, someone willing to do whatever it takes. Over the following weeks, the assignments get darker, faster, more frequent. You're sent to discourage a street preacher who's been speaking too loudly about vigilance against heresy. You don't kill him, those aren't the orders, but you and 2 others beat him badly enough that he stops preaching. 14 broken bones, including his jaw. The Arbites investigate, but there are no witnesses. The preacher is too afraid to identify his attackers. You help smuggle weapons into a worker district in Sector Epsilon 12. 53 autoguns, 27 stub revolvers, and 600 rounds of ammunition, all hidden in crates marked as industrial lubricant. You don't know what they're for. You don't ask. You stand guard outside a basement while Brother Kale questions a captured administratum clerk suspected of investigating the cult's front businesses. You don't participate in the interrogation, but you hear the screaming. It lasts for 3 hours and 17 minutes. You count. Each time it gets easier. Each time, the voice in your head that says this is wrong gets quieter. Each time, you tell yourself it's necessary, that the Imperium is the real enemy, that the cult is building something better, that you're one of the good ones, fighting for a cause that actually matters. And each time, you lose a little more of who you used to be. The person you were 4 months ago, the desperate, starving underhive worker, wouldn't recognize the person you've become. That person had lines they wouldn't cross, had principles, had something resembling a conscience. This person, the one standing here with an auto pistol under their coat and blood under their fingernails, has none of those things. This person is a weapon, a tool, a servant of something they don't fully understand but can't refuse. And the worst part, this person is fine with it, because being chosen, even by something dark, is better than being invisible. And power, even the power to hurt and kill, is better than powerlessness. You've crossed the point of no return, and there's no going back. Chapter 7. The God Behind the Mask. It's your 5th month in the cult, and you're starting to notice things that don't add up. Little things at first, details that nag at the edges of your awareness, like a splinter you can't quite reach. The way Brother Malachus sometimes pauses mid-sentence during prayers, his eyes going distant and unfocused, as if he's listening to a voice no one else can hear. The way his lips keep moving, even after he stops speaking, forming words in a language that makes your teeth ache when you try to focus on it. The way Sister Veyara's left hand trembles during certain rituals, not from fear or cold, but in rhythmic patterns that match nothing in the liturgy. Her fingers twitch and curl like they're writing symbols in the air. The way some of the older members, the ones who've been with the cult for years, have scars that don't make sense, brands on their arms in shapes that hurt to look at directly, marks on their foreheads that seem to shift and change when you're not looking straight at them. You tell yourself it's nothing. Stress, paranoia, the dim candlelight playing tricks on your eyes. But then there's the shipment. You're on work detail in the underhive, helping unload crates that came through one of the cult's smuggling routes. The job is simple. Carry the crates from the delivery servitor to the storage vault. Don't ask questions. Don't look inside. You've done this before. Medical supplies, the manifest says. Equipment for the free clinics the cult runs in the lower levels. But when you lift one of the crates, the third one from the left, marked with a serial number that's been partially scratched off, something feels wrong. The crate is too heavy. Not impossibly heavy, but heavier than medical supplies should be. And it's cold. Not refrigerated cold, but cold in a way that goes deeper than temperature. The kind of cold that seeps through the plasteel and into your bones. You set it down carefully and step back. Your fingers are numb where they touch the crate. Not frostbitten, just empty. Like the feeling has been drained out of them. Keep moving, one of the supervisors barks. You don't recognize him. He's one of the inner circle members, higher up in the hierarchy than you. You keep moving. But 3 hours later, your fingers still haven't regained full sensation. That night, you have the dream. You're standing in a vast hall. The walls aren't made of stone or metal, they're made of flesh. Living flesh, pulsing with unseen heartbeats, slick with moisture that might be sweat or might be something worse. The floor beneath your feet writhes, soft and yielding, like you're standing on something's tongue. The air is thick, hot. It smells like copper and incense and rot, all mixed together into something that makes your stomach heave. In the distance, impossibly far, but also somehow right in front of you, something massive moves through the shadows. You can't see it clearly. Your eyes refuse to focus on it, sliding away whenever you try to look directly at it. But you can see pieces, suggestions, a limb that bends at too many joints, an eye the size of a transit car, unblinking, filled with an intelligence so vast it makes you feel like an insect, a mouth, or many mouths, opening and closing in rhythms that might be speech or might be breathing, and then it speaks, not with words, not with sound. The voice bypasses your ears entirely, carving itself directly into your brain like a brand pressed into flesh. You have done well, little servant. You try to run, but your legs won't respond. You're frozen, a specimen pinned for examination. You have spilled blood in my name. You have broken your chains. You have opened yourself to truth. The thing in the shadows moves closer. You see more details now. Details you immediately wish you could unsee. Limbs that aren't limbs. Geometry that shouldn't exist. Colors that don't have names because human eyes were never meant to perceive them. Continue to serve. Continue to bleed. And when the time comes, you will be rewarded beyond your comprehension. The voice is pleasure and agony mixed together. It's every desire you've ever had and every fear you've ever felt, all compressed into a single overwhelming presence. You can't tell where it ends and you begin. Can't tell if the thoughts in your head are yours or if they're being placed there. I see you, child. I have always seen you. Even when the corpse god looked away, even when the Imperium forgot you existed, I saw you and I chose you. And then you wake up. You're in your hab cell, drenched in sweat, your heart hammering so hard you think it might break through your ribs. The darkness is absolute. The lumen overhead burned out 3 weeks ago and you haven't bothered to replace it. But for just a moment, just a fraction of a second, you see something in that darkness. The 8-pointed star, hovering in the air above your cot, glowing with a light that has no source, not drawn or projected, just there, existing in defiance of physics and sanity. You blink and it's gone. But the image is burned into your retinas. You can still see it when you close your eyes. The 8 arrows radiating from a central point, each one somehow pointing in a direction that doesn't exist in 3-dimensional space. You don't sleep for the rest of the night. At the next gathering, you find Torvus, one of the older members, someone who's been with the cult for 9 years. His face is gaunt, skin stretched tight over his skull. His eyes are sunken, ringed with dark circles, but he smiles constantly, a wide, unnatural smile that never reaches those dead eyes. I need to ask you something, you say quietly, pulling him aside after the prayers. Of course, brother. His smile widens. Ask. The Liberator. What is he? Really? Torvus's smile doesn't falter. A god, the only god that matters. But the god emperor is a corpse. Torvus says it casually, like he's discussing the weather. A rotting carcass seated on a golden throne, sustained by the suffering of thousands. The Imperium worships death and calls it divinity. But the Liberator? He is alive. He is power incarnate, and he offers us what the corpse god never could: true freedom, true strength, true transcendence. I had a dream, you say. Something spoke to me. Then you should feel honored. Torvus places a hand on your shoulder. His fingers are cold. The Liberator calls to those he favors. Not everyone hears his voice. You're special. What does he want from us? Everything. Torvus says it simply, like it's obvious. Your loyalty, your service, your soul, if you're willing to give it. In exchange, he'll give you everything you've ever wanted. Power, pleasure, victory, eternal life, if you prove yourself worthy. And if I refuse, the smile finally fades from Torvus's face. Then you die, slowly and painfully, and your soul becomes his anyway. He leans closer, and you can smell something sour on his breath. There is no refusing, brother, not anymore. The moment you spilled blood in his name, the moment you opened yourself to his truth, you became his. The only choice now is whether you serve willingly or unwillingly. He walks away, leaving you standing alone in the flickering candlelight. You start paying attention during the rituals, really paying attention, looking past the surface to what's underneath. The prayers aren't to the God Emperor. They never were. The words are similar enough to pass casual inspection, praises to the master of mankind, calls for liberation from tyranny, but the underlying structure is wrong, twisted. You recognize some of the phrases now. You've seen them in the forbidden texts that circulate among the inner circle, books printed on human skin, illuminated with ink made from things you don't want to think about, passages in languages that shouldn't exist, that make your eyes water and your head pound when you try to read them. The symbols aren't imperial aquilus or icons of the saints. The 8-pointed star appears everywhere once you start looking for it, woven subtly into tapestries, scratched into the undersides of candles, carved into the flesh of the most devoted members, hidden under their robes where casual observers won't see. And the sacrifices haven't stopped. Once a week, sometimes more often, someone is brought to the shrine. Criminals, Malachus says. Traitors, people who've betrayed the cult or threatened its work. Justice, he calls it. But you watch now, really watch, and you see what's actually happening. The blood is collected in channels carved into the altar's surface, flowing into a reservoir underneath. The bodies are disposed of, yes, but parts of them disappear first. Hearts, tongues, eyes, taken somewhere deeper to chambers you haven't been allowed to enter yet. And every time blood is spilled, the air in the shrine changes, thickens. The candles burn brighter. The shadows in the corners seem to move with purpose, reaching toward the altar like supplicants. Something is feeding on this, growing stronger with every death. The breaking point comes during a major ritual in your 6th month. It's not a regular gathering. This is something bigger. 63 cult members packed into the shrine, more than you've ever seen in one place. The air is thick with incense and body heat and anticipation. At the center of it all, Brother Malachus stands over a bound prisoner, an Arbites enforcer, his armor stripped away, his face beaten to a pulp. Blood runs from his nose, his mouth, a gash above his eye. He's conscious but barely, his head lolling. Malachus raises his hands. Liberator, master of change and slaughter, lord of excess and decay, we offer this blood in your name. Grant us your blessing. Show us your favor. Give us a sign of your divine presence. The chanting begins. 63 voices raised in unison, repeating phrases in that language that makes your teeth ache. The words build on each other, layering, creating harmonics that shouldn't be possible with human vocal cords. The air begins to change. It's subtle at first, a pressure building in your skull, a tightness in your chest, the candle flames stretching upward, burning brighter but casting darker shadows. And then you see it. The space above the altar tears. There's no other way to describe it. Reality itself rips open like fabric, edges curling back to reveal something underneath, something beyond. Through the tear, you see, not a place, not exactly. It's a space between spaces, colors that don't exist, geometries that violate every law of physics you've ever understood, movement that suggests vast shapes in the distance, things so enormous that what you're seeing is like trying to understand an ocean by looking at a single drop of water. And something reaches through. It's not a hand, it's not a tentacle, it's not any category of appendage your brain can process. It's something liminal, something that exists in the gaps between definitions. It looks like raw muscle wrapped in shadow, like bone carved from solidified screams, like fingers made of broken promises. The appendage wraps around the Arbites enforcer. He screams, a sound of pure, primal terror that cuts through the chanting. His body goes rigid, every muscle locked in rictus. And then he's pulled into the tear, into that impossible space beyond reality. The rip seals itself. Reality flows back together like water. The pressure vanishes. The candles return to normal. The shrine is silent except for heavy breathing and the sound of someone sobbing quietly in the back. Malachus lowers his hands. His face is rapturous, ecstatic. "The Liberator accepts our offering," he says, his voice shaking with emotion. "Praise his name. Praise his infinite power." "Praise his name," the cult echoes. And you echo it too, because everyone is watching, because showing fear is showing weakness, because the only way to survive this is to pretend it's normal. "Praise his name," you whisper. But inside, you're screaming. You corner Sister Veyara after the ritual, pulling her into a side chamber when no one's looking. "What was that?" you demand. Your voice comes out harsher than you intended. "What came through that hole?" Veyara looks at you with something between pity and amusement. "You really didn't know? Even after all this time?" "Know what? The Liberator isn't a metaphor, brother. He's real. He's one of the great powers, the entities the Imperium calls chaos, the gods that dwell in the warp. And he has chosen us. Chosen you. Your blood turns to ice. Chaos. You're telling me we worship chaos? "We worship truth," Veyara corrects. "We worship power in its purest form. The Imperium calls the great powers chaos because it fears them, because it knows they offer something the Corpse Emperor never could: genuine transformation, genuine strength." "They're demons," you say. Your voice sounds distant, disconnected. "The warp, corruption, everything we're taught to fear from childhood, everything you're taught to fear because the Imperium wants to keep you weak." Veyara grips your shoulders. "Listen to me. The so-called chaos gods aren't evil. They're power, raw, unlimited power. They offer strength to those brave enough to embrace them. The Emperor couldn't even save himself. He's been rotting on that throne for 10,000 years. What makes you think he can save you?" She's right. The logic is inescapable. You've seen the Imperium's failures firsthand. You've lived in them. The starvation, the brutality, the casual cruelty of a system that grinds up the weak and calls it necessity. But this, you've already given yourself to him, Veyara continues. You've killed in his name. You've bathed in blood for his glory. You've opened yourself to the warp whether you knew it or not. There's no going back now. What happens if I try to leave? The Imperium would execute you as a heretic. The Inquisition would burn you alive after extracting every secret you know. Your only path forward, your only path to survival, is with us. She releases your shoulders and steps back. The Liberator has marked you, brother. You're his now. The only question is whether you'll serve him willingly, or whether you'll fight against your nature until it destroys you. She leaves you alone in the chamber. You stand there in the darkness for a long time, trying to process what you've learned. Chaos. You've joined a chaos cult. Everything you've done, the murders, the smuggling, the rituals, has been in service to the very forces the Imperium considers the ultimate enemy of humanity. You should run. You should report to the Arbites, throw yourself on their mercy, hope they'll believe you were coerced. But Veyara is right. You've killed. You've participated in rituals that tore holes in reality. Even if the Arbites believed you were manipulated, the Inquisition wouldn't care. They'd execute you alongside the true believers. You're trapped. And the worst part, the part that makes you hate yourself, is that a small voice in the back of your mind whispers, "Is this really so bad?" The cult has given you purpose, power, a place to belong. The Imperium gave you nothing but suffering. Who's really the enemy here? Over the next month, the truth unfolds in layers. The cult doesn't worship a single entity. The Liberator is a name they use to hide their true allegiances. In reality, different factions within the organization serve different chaos gods. Some worship Khorne, the blood god, the entity of violence and martial prowess and rage. They're the ones who push for aggressive action, who revel in the combat training and the bloodshed. Brother Kale, the interrogator, has brands on his arms in the shape of skulls, 8 of them, arranged in a circle.